Good afternoon and welcome to our short time together. We will be working with a great story, which is what I do. Mythodrama is a new form of experiential learning that we've been creating over the last 15 years. And we take great stories, often from William Shakespeare, and decode them. We try and kind of squeeze out all the encoded wisdom into them and then apply them to different audiences. I started doing this in 1997 when I was a director at the New Globe Theatre. It was the opening season. And we did it with Henry V and developed a program on inspirational leadership, getting people into the breach, which went very well. And a couple of years later, we started working on the Tempest. And it was about a magician. And we started figuring out how or what might the genius that was William Shakespeare have been trying to encode into this myth 400 years ago. And it really was a tough nut to crack. We've been working on it now for about 14 years, and I think I can say we're almost getting it. So what I want to do is share where we've got to so far with you, tell you the story, and try and apply it to some of the modern leadership management, especially change management challenges that we have found clients responding to in the story over that time. Introduce you to a little frame of the characters, using our theatre metaphor, the characters you will need to play in order to successfully lead change. And then we will hand it over to you for the last 15 minutes or so, see how, what strikes you, what questions you've got, what resonates, and what's on your mind, really. So that's plan A, and plan B is what happens. The story, which you also have laid out on a card with the characters listed on the back, because it's quite a complicated story, and it does suit the theme, because leading change is complicated, seems to have 10 big themes that manifest in it through Shakespeare's 5-act story. Starts up front with creating the climate for change, in this case very literally a big storm that shakes people up, followed closely by engaging the home team, who's on your side and who do you need to really initiate the change with you. That is inevitably followed by the reactions to change. People who don't like it, were shocked by it, didn't expect it, particularly those who are losing any kind of power or resource through the change will tend to react in a negative way. The lords react with some politics, some power plays, and the servants react with some good old-fashioned drunken sabotage. Beware of both. As we move into Act 3, the task of the change agent, change leader, seems to be how on earth do we get our people to keep enjoying themselves even in the midst of a transformational process, even when they may be asked to do more work, manage the old and the new at the same time. Apparently they've got more on their plate. We will have more on our plate. How do we enjoy it? How do we actually put a smile on our face and are able to engage others through the midst of the change? Equally necessary, we would argue, at a certain point, is to be able to deliver a truth thunderbolt, to be able, in no uncertain terms, to confront the men of sin who are not shaping up, who haven't bought the vision, and who, for whatever reason, are potentially really putting the blocks on the change that you desire or are tasked to help lead. In Act 4, we see a different energy coming from our change leader, Prospero, which is the ability to bless the new, to create symbolic actions, speak symbolic words that help put a picture of the new very firmly in people's minds. And at a certain point, he also has to make sure that people understand the big picture, that yes, we're in the middle of this change, but what's it all for? Why are we doing it? And be able, when people are ready, to let them kind of move out of what often has necessarily been a kind of blinkered vision through the meat of the change. And we get towards the end, a little bit more mystery. Prospero, the master magician, decides to give up what he calls his rough magic. And we think of this as a particular challenge for many of the leaders that we work with, which is that for a real change to be successful, it seems to be the case that something has to change in the change leaders. that if we, as the role models or those near the top of a system, or at least kind of in the middle to the upward part of a system, are not prepared to manifest some kind of change in our own attitude, behavior, leadership mindset, kind of how on earth can we really expect everyone else underneath us to do that? So giving up rough magic, one of Shakespeare's little mysteries, he drops in there. And the last task, integration. How do we actually bring all the parts of the new system together so that the new ship is manifestly seen and felt as a better vehicle for us to travel forward in than the ship we started way back in the storm?